Welcome back to the channel. My name's Joe, and today we're going to talk about feeling misunderstood. Now, this is something that I definitely felt, and it took me a long while to really get to the bottom of it. I think if you watch my previous videos, which I feel like I say a hell of a lot in these videos, but my parents were emotionally unavailable, and when that is the case, it means that you're not particularly versed in your own feelings. And I think this is quite common with a lot of men as well. We sort of told that we shouldn't have feelings, we should just crack on and deal with it, and we don't spend enough time just being in our own head in a good way, feeling out our emotions when they come up. And if you think about it, it's actually pretty self-explanatory why we feel misunderstood. And if you're watching this video, hopefully you're resonating with what I'm saying and feeling misunderstood, something that you've had to deal with part of your life, if not all of your life. Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because as I've been doing work with my coach, Dan Lunn, again, you heard me bang on about him enough times in the videos, his link's down below. But all of his work is about understanding yourself, being in your feelings, having time for yourself, prioritising yourself. And it has such a lasting impact on your whole life, not only in relationships, which was predominantly why I started working with him, but in the rest of your life as well. Because when you can feel your emotions, be present, self-soothe, then you really start to understand yourself. You start to understand what makes you tick. You start to understand things you're going to do that are not going to help your emotions or going to put you in a negative emotional state. And relationships are a big one. If you just sort of see your partner as this beautiful person who you have lots of fun with, then it's not that deep, is it? And that whole dynamic dies off after a while, doesn't it? Because when you're in the honeymoon stage, it's absolutely brilliant because you're going on dates and all the rest of it. But longer term, you need to have a deeper connection. And to do that, you first must truly understand yourself. So you have to understand what makes you tick. You have to understand your own feelings, your thoughts. You have to understand what your needs in a relationship. And once you understand what your needs in a relationship are, then you can set healthy boundaries within a relationship, and you can pick a partner that is going to be suitable. And all of this is theoretical that I've worked out during this journey, but it makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, I'm about to start putting into practice. I'm not diving into a relationship, but I am going to start dating again shortly. So we will see, and I will document all of this. But that feeling misunderstood piece is massive. And as much as, externally we could have loads of friends, and this was the case for me, I've always been popular, I've had loads of friends. But I remember saying to my coach on week one, I said, I've got loads of friends, but I don't feel like any of them get me. And what you come to realise is they don't truly get you, the same as all of my previous partners haven't truly got me. And that's one, because I didn't open up to them. And two, and mainly, what comes before that is the fact that I didn't understand myself. How can you expect anyone else to understand you if you don't understand yourself? Think about it. It sounds really simple, but it's so true, isn't it? And I've asked some of my friends, and I don't know if you're anything like this, if you start doing a bit of healing work and you want to start talking to your friends about it and they're not quite in the headspace, but I often speak to people and I say, what are your needs? And people don't know. People don't know what their needs are because they don't understand themselves. And it does all boil down to that. You might have heard the story before, but I will retell it. I did therapy. I did quite a lot of talk therapy after my mother passed. And the therapist said to me, what are your needs, Joe? And I said, my needs are, I want to go to the gym and I want to see my daughter. And he laughed at me. He genuinely laughed at me. And I can see why now. They are not my needs. They're like human rights. It's like me saying to him, I want to brush my teeth every morning and I want to go to bed every night. Like that, they're just normal things, aren't they? They are not needs. They're not what makes you tick. They're not what makes you happy. They're not what's important to you. And once you do the deeper work, and if you think about what your needs and stuff are, they tend to be the opposite of what you had or didn't have as a child. So, for instance, my mum and dad were emotionally unavailable. So, guess what? In a relationship, I want to be vulnerable. I want to have very good communication, so I can have that emotional intimacy with my partner. Makes sense, doesn't it? Again, once you start unraveling all of this, then it all makes sense what you want. And again, they were emotionally unavailable. So not only like verbally and with like affection, but then actually hands-on stuff as well, like proper affection, not just like words of affection, actually being hands-on, give me a cuddle. All the rest of it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying my mum and dad never gave me a cuddle, but we never had that relationship in my later years, sort of 10 onwards, really. And I always feel bad saying that because, they're good people. They was just bringing me up the best way they could, and they did a great job in a lot of ways. But a child needs to be seen, heard, and felt. You need all three of those. And if you're missing any of those, then you're going to have some sort of issues later on in life. And when I say issues, they're everyday things. A lot of people just go through life and don't work through these things. They don't need to. They can just work life out, or they do it intuitively. But if you're watching this video, you're probably in the same boat as me, where we need a bit more guidance. It doesn't seem as apparent or obvious to make the right decisions or do the right work for us. But it does just all boil down to understanding yourself. And I'd advise anyone just to get out, spend time on your own. And when I say spend time on your own, I used to think I spent a lot of time on my own. But I work away, so I'm in a hotel room at the moment. But when I'm in my hotel room, I used to have the iPad on watching something, or I'll be playing music, I'll be listening to a podcast, I'll be working on something. That I am alone, but I am not being alone with myself. I'm distracting myself. Now, again, if you go for a walk and you've got headphones in, you're making phone calls, you're texting, you're not sitting there in your own feelings and emotions and just being you. So I definitely advise you just doing that, being conscious of it. I love walking now. I'll go walking, makes me feel great. Don't have any headphones on, put my phone on sleep mode, and I love it. And that's a good time for me. But that's the first step in all of this, understanding yourself. And then you can start going on some of the deeper work. You can use meditation, get into meditation, and then start doing some inner child meditation where you've really, honestly, I say it again, it sounds like witchcraft, but once you believe in the meditation and you can feel the goodness that comes from it, you then start to be able to use it for different avenues, and one of those is inner child. And honestly, these guided meditations, you'll find them on YouTube, they take you back to childhood memories that I'd suppressed, I didn't know I had. And they were minute things. In the grand scheme of things, you could tell someone that came up and they would be like, well, and what? That's nothing, that's normal. But that obviously had a lasting impact on my brain and my consciousness, which has gave me some negative traits in later life. So it's just doing that deeper work and working through some mother and father wound stuff, like trying to really think about where your mother and father did let you down. Because unfortunately, a lot of this stuff comes from them. And I'll reiterate again, it's not because they're bad people, in my case anyway. It was just because they didn't have the right tools. And you can't blame them. Their parents grew up in the war. So, of course, they were a bit emotionally unavailable. They come from a really, really hard time. My mum and dad were quite old. They would have been like in their 80s nearly now. Or my dad would have been in his 80s. My mum nearly in her 80s. So, they come from that era where their parents had a very, very hard time. So it's not putting the blame on them, but you need to dig into what went on in your childhood where you was missing certain aspects, just to be better from it. And then you can be there for yourself. And all of this is all wrapped up in the understanding yourself piece. And you'll notice from a lot of these videos, they're very intertwined. It's all about just chipping away at all those little areas and just being there for yourself, doing the inner work, the deeper work. From your mother wound, father wound, inner child stuff. And then you can really start embodying it. Then you can really start making changes. And it's so powerful once you understand yourself, because your brain's still going to tell you to do wrong things sometimes, and you can actually correct yourself. And that's the power. That's where the beauty of it all comes in. And that's when you're being a true masculine man, where you're feeling your feelings and you're correcting yourself. You're not running away to somebody else. I used to run away to, well, what I would do in my previous long-term relationship is I'll just shut off. I just didn't have the feelings. I'd say I was really emotionally blunt. And then more recently I was seeing someone and I needed quite a lot of reassurance from them because I was having the feelings. I just started doing all the work and I started processing the feelings, but I couldn't actually process them internally. And I was asking somebody else, who I didn't really know that well, to help me with those, which isn't the right thing to do. You know, you need to be taking ownership of your own feelings and thoughts, being able to soothe yourself. And these programs, honestly, my coach Dan Lunn, incredible. The stuff that he teaches you in such a lovely manner, like such a brilliant manner, the way he teaches it. And it's incredible work. But I'm going to give you a cheat code if you don't want to pay for therapy, because it's not loads of money, but it's not cheap either. I'm going to publish everything on the channel. So if you're watching this, the previous videos will teach you all about the inner child stuff, the mother and father wound, being there for yourself, all that other good stuff that's going to help you be the man you need to be to understand yourself. Because I'll reiterate again, if you don't understand yourself, how is anybody else supposed to understand you? It's no wonder we feel misunderstood. Think about it, like you don't understand yourself, but you want other people to understand you. Whether that's people in life, friends, or that's in relationships. And the relationship one's where it really hurts you because your partner's supposed to be the one that you get each other truly and you're there for each other. And if you can't open up because you don't understand yourself, then you're not going to get there. So yeah, I'm rambling on a bit now, but you'll see a link down below for the community. I can't even think what I've just called it, which is a typical ADHD trait of mine, but let me have a look at it. Yes, it's the Brotherhood of Depth. I've just created it. The title, that might change, but it's on school. It's going to be free. I'm going to make it so you guys who get in early have access forever. And I want it to be a place where men like me and you who are suffering with these things, I say suffering, I hate using harsh words like that, but we're going through stuff in our life and we're trying to improve, and we can put it in the group. We can be vulnerable with each other. And then the guys that have done the work already, who have got something to offer the guys who are just starting, or they're particularly versed in a certain aspect of relationships or trauma, they can chip in and offer some assistance. It's just going to be like a good sounding board, because as men, you know, there's not a lot of other men we can confide in. There's not a lot of other men we can talk to. And as you grow and do the healing work, you'll probably find that a lot of your friends from previously are still going to be there, still going to be good friends, but they're not fulfilling you in all aspects. Because think about it as like a cup. You used to think that you was 100% full with all your relationships, but now you've actually got a little bit of extra at the top, which is the emotional stuff. You've been able to process your own emotions. You can talk about this deeper stuff, which 9 times out of 10, your friendship group are not going to be able to fulfill that, because for whatever reason, they might not be open enough, or they might not have struggled in certain aspects in their life like we have. So yeah, community's there, jump in. It's going to be free for you guys if you get in early. There'll be some paid stuff in there at some point, but I haven't quite worked that out. We're just going to get the community rolling at the start. And Dan Lunn, his details are all below as well. He's got like a link tree thing and his Instagram. I recommend, if any of this resonates with you and you think you want to go on a path like I've just spoke about and heal and improve yourself, then contact him, because he is incredible. He's a great guy. Right, rambled on long enough. As always, please do like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.